So I know that you said you never seen the full Dana and Kevin Iole interview, but obviously you've seen what he said about Tom and how he doesn't deserve anything at this point. Basically, is what he more or less said. I'm not even making that sound worse. He basically said Tom doesn't deserve, the next shot. Jon Jones does. What's Jon Jones got over Dana? Do you reckon he's got a picture of him Bolloco, or what is it?
I think Jon Jones has got over Dana what football nostalgia has over football fans in the 90s, where they think that it's better than what it is now. Always, every sport, you think it's better now than it was then, or people, you know what I mean. People always think their time is better, and yeah, Jon Jones was amazing, is amazing. But I'm not gonna lie, that interview to me was just disrespectful, just totally disrespectful to Tom. I think he actually defined Tom as coming up.
Yeah.
He's the interim champ and most people's like champion of the division, and he's described him as he's an upcoming fighter, and he's racking up the wins. Mate, he's cleaning out the division, and he hasn't even fought 15 minutes yet in 9 fights. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
It's, yeah. I mean, I seen the caption for that video on Twitter before I seen the video. So I seen Dana says Tom Aspinall hasn't earned anything yet. And I thought, there's no way he said that. That's clickbait.
Yeah.
I clicked on the video and I thought, wow, yeah, you're speaking that way about the interim champ that's just fought at fucking ridiculous o'clock in the morning for you in his own country and blew the roof off the place because he got a finish in a minute. I get what you're doing with Jon Jones, and yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the nostalgia, to be fair. And I think he's also trying to push, this GOAT narrative. He wants the UFC to have a clear GOAT that he can hang his hat on, and he wants that GOAT to be unbeaten, which is why he's trying to campaign to get his loss removed still.
Yeah.
But he's really missing the mark with this bloody Aspinall-Jones fight. And I think he also knows quite clearly what's going to happen in the Jones-Stipe fight. In that interview with Kevin Iole, he kind of slips up a little bit because he says Stipe is definitely retiring. Tom's fighting the winner. So if Stipe is retiring, how is Tom fighting the winner if Stipe wins? So he's basically saying, I'm putting this fight on. I know John's going to win. And then he doubled down and said, I'd be very surprised if Jon Jones doesn't fight Tom Aspinall.
Look, if you're going to give Jon Jones credit, you've got to give Stipe credit as well. And he's a live dog in the fight, and there's a chance he can win. But what size chance? I'm not so sure, but there's a chance he can win. It's heavyweight. It's heavyweight MMA, of course there is. My issue comes with the fact that he's got a potential heavyweight GOAT from the UK, which he says he loves, and he's showing him absolutely no love. And he's alternatively given the love to Jon Jones, arguably the GOAT, a light heavyweight who's had one fight at heavyweight against stylistically the most perfect matchup you could possibly give him. And I'm not going to lie to you, I thought he looked pretty poor in the Ciryl fight.
I was literally waiting for you to stop talking so I can say that. And I'm not even saying it retrospectively now. If you go back and look at my actual Twitter on the night, I tweeted GOAT actually initially.
Yeah.
And I said, to be honest, that's probably the worst I've ever seen anyone look in a championship fight. He looks. Remember that? Have you seen that spinning back fist?
His striking was so far off.
Awful.
And I know we've touched on what impact a layoff can have on your striking and your timing, but I don't know whether that was as much the layoff as it was the weight. He just looked slow and sluggish, and obviously got him to the ground, got the business done. But have you ever seen, in a title fight, have you ever seen someone show as big a hole in the game than Ciryl did in that? He looked like he never grappled in the gym, ever. I mean, Francis.
I was just thinking, Francis in the first, what fight was that?
In the Gant fight. When Francis fought Gant for the title, Francis looked like a Dagestani wrestler.
No, it was the Francis Stipe fight, wasn't it?
Francis got schoolboyed by Stipe in the first fight, obviously starting in a second, but
Yeah.
we have also seen the holes in Francis's grappling, and Francis looked like a Dagestani when he fought Cyril Gane. He held him down for 5 rounds. That is how poor Cyril Gane's grappling is. Going into that fight with Jon Jones, that was tailor-made for Jon Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't see any better matchups for him in that division.
No, there isn't.
You know, that's championship caliber. I mean, you know, when you're talking top 3, top 5, there was no better matchup really.
No.
And like we said on last week's one, I think Jon Jones is very clever. He's not necessarily scared of Aspinall.
Yeah.
But he's very aware of the threat of him, and he knows, okay, if I can avoid that fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's the way his mind works, but I think he's, like I said, he's definitely aware of that threat, and he's not necessarily chomping at the bit at the minute to fight him.
Do you know what though? I think there's something to be said for Dana needs to be a little bit careful, you know, because obviously he's got a massive monopoly on the sport. People don't tend to go elsewhere because they're not going to get the same money. Francis has done it, but he's one of the only ones to ever do it and successfully do it. He's going to make some good money, and he's made some good money from his boxing, but he's lost a bit of his MMA career, so it's a trade off. But I think Dana basically pushed Francis out in favour of Jon Jones, and he's almost doing that again. Now, I don't think Tom will go anywhere because Tom wants to be UFC champion and will be UFC champion. But he kind of needs to understand where his bread's buttered, Dana. He's always been about making the big fights, so make the big fights.